Hi, I'm Jordan Long, and today I'm going to talk about, this one thing that, you know, well, not that it's nothing bad or nothing, but it does tend to happen. Alright, so, uh, okay, I don't know. So, sometimes on YouTube, and it isn't a bad thing, but I know when you're putting yourself out there, you're gonna get folks who do not like what you do, and that comes with everything. I'm not even sure if I should talk about that. Okay, so every once in a while, probably more, I think, is this a good thing to talk about or not? Not that I don't think it doesn't, not that I don't think, oh, that I'm not following followership oversight, because I know I am. Not that I don't think I'm following ownership law, because I am. But, yeah, I don't, okay, to be earnest with you folks, I don't sit there and write things down and say, oh, this is what I'm going to talk about, and this and that. Like, that's what everybody else does. Well, good for them. You know, like other folks out there like to go around and they like to clean all their stuff up and shift it and stuff like that. Well, I don't do stuff like that. Never did, never will. Alright? So, anyway, this might be a follow up film from something that I did a long time ago. So, there was always going, see, with some folks out there, they have something that they see themselves as, and they're all right with that, even though it may or may not be true. Like, okay, you get after him, but keep in mind that borrowed word that refers to the dark land, dark meaning not knowing much about it to learning a lot about it, but anyone who lives in that land could be called African. That's a borrowed word, most likely a Greek borrowed word. The English word would be dark. I'm guessing dark land or dark folk. Anyway, not everyone who lives there is that. There's also Arabs that live there too, and also whites. Now, apparently, there are going to be some folks that, you know, saying that's what it is, you know. But I'm not getting through that. Then you get to my folks. There's all kinds of things. Some say, oh, you should say Asian, but that's once again most likely a Latin or Greek borrowed word. The English word would be East or Far Eastern. The only downside is that anyone who lives in that land could be called Far Eastern too, even though they may not look Far Eastern, like the Hindus, or the Arabs, or the whites, or even the Eastern folk like me, the Oriental. They have too many borrowed words, I know. Too many borrowed words. Um, but anyone could be called Eastern. And then I guess you could be called Far Eastern, I guess. You know. And why it gets down into that, because there's never been a hang up. Folks say, yo, you can't say Far Eastern. Or you can't say whatever you want to say. You gotta say, it's not like someone ever said, I don't think you should say that. Why I should not say that? Since I think it's just something you shouldn't say. You know, like, Jordan, you shouldn't say something like that. I think that's wrong. Well, it's never been a hang up before. Well, it's the truth. You know. You know. It is the truth. It's never been a hang up before. No one's never gotten mad over it or sad over it. You know. And there's always been that thing about, oh, this is what you should say, but it's not actually true. Because anyone who lives in that land could be called that. And then you got, keep in mind, you got all these, I guess, offshoots, we'll call them, of folks that live in that land too. And then when it gets even, because then Jordan said it gets even any worse than that. You know, so I have what? My bookhouse sheet with, say, my Healing Guild sheet, my driving sheet, and I put down Eastern or Far Eastern down. You know, it's not like that's ever going to be a hang up. And that's what I am. I'm Far Eastern. Or Eastern, I guess, but yeah. But then another little thing that comes up, everyone says you can tell the unlikeness between one Far Eastern to the other by looking at their eyes. Well, I don't really think you can. The only grounds that I know this is because I actually look at everyone's eyes and you truly can't tell. I cannot truly tell the unlikeness by looking at their eyes. Okay, yeah, I know I am one and I know what I look like. I know what everybody else looks like. But to tell the unlikeness, it's more with their cast, shell, and side. It has nothing to do with their eyes. Okay? Jordan said, that's it, but even then I can't tell that much. And I happen to be one. So, this whole thing about you can tell the unlikeness between the two is kind of dumb. Oh, well, I can't really tell the unlikeness. I'm looking at your eyes and I really can't tell the unlikeness. Well, you should know I'm Asian Chinese. Oh, so you're Far Eastern too. Far Eastern Sea. Or the Far Eastern Chin folk, right? Or the Chinese folk, right? Yeah. Well, Jordan said, only I could tell that you look like me is from looking at your cast, shell and side. Your eyes are about the same, so yeah. So why would someone think by looking at our eyes they could tell the unlikeness between us? I don't know. I don't know. And, well, before I end this film, there's always going to be at least one downside. That it's not even a downside, it's more of what some folks think. Some folks have this belief that you're truly good at tailcraft, and I'm not. The only way I'm good at tailcraft is someone gives me a tailcrafting tool and I can put in the tracks and get the answer. As long as I'm putting in the right room, the right tracks to get the right answer. But I'm not good at that. Never was. You know, anything higher than the first, higher tracks seem to throw me off. So yeah, I guess we just knocked that one not being true. You know. And I'm not going to come on here and say, oh, well, I'm not going to come down and say, well, it's not smooth being Far Eastern. Well, everything in life is never smooth. But I'm not going to bitch and say that my life was bad, because it was not. Okay? There's a lot of folks out there that, think they're kind, had it worse than everyone else, and that maybe it was true. But then again, I think one side just wants to downplay the hardship of the other side. Not saying that that's true or not, but that'd be a whole other film for another day. But I am saying that it's never been a hang up for me to call myself Far Eastern or be Eastern, because those are English words, and I would prefer being called that than being called everything else. And where did it come? And what did one folk call themselves that when there were many folks that lived in that land that could be called that too? I don't know. I'm Jordan Long, and I'll see you later.